Let's talk about the border.
Okay.
Let's talk about deportations. Border crossings are at their lowest level ever recorded. Is the border?
Is that good?
Is the border now secure?
Yeah, it's really secure.
It's absolutely
Isn't that good?
secure.
When you say that, doesn't that just sound good? After being abused for years by an incompetent president that allowed people to pour through an open border, criminals from all over the world, murderers and insane people from mental institutions and insane asylums. Isn't it a beautiful thing when you say it's the most secure it's ever been in the history of our country? Isn't that a nice statement?
What's up, people? You already know what time it is. It's your boy, Toby, and you are welcome to The Toby Show. If you're not subscribed to this channel, I don't know what you're waiting for, man. Subscribe to the channel. Press the button right now, yeah? Watch these videos, leave a like, leave a comment, and share these videos with your friends. So, people, before now, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I've always asked myself that some of these press people, some of these pundits and everything, in regards to politics, do they actually hate Trump, or are they just paid actors? I've always asked myself the question. But the other day, I was watching Meet the Press with Kristen Welker and Donald Trump. And it felt like I was watching two different scenes. Right? So there was this little scene where Trump was taking her through Mar-a-Lago, you know, showing her the building, showing her everything. And she was the sweetest woman ever. I couldn't believe my eyes. Right? And then when they sat down to have an interview, it felt like they told her, all right, Kristen, you know what? You know what to do right now. And that interview was like very explosive. She and Trump was going. And obviously, you know how Trump is. He was calling out the Democrats, calling out the fake news, right to her face. Like, it was a very explosive interview, about an hour long, right? But I'm not gonna cover the whole thing. I'm gonna cover the topic of the border, because you could tell when she asked Trump the question, right? And Trump told her what he told her, right? He literally shamed the Democrats, shamed NBC, CNN, all his critics. He shamed them to their faces, right? But before we get there, I will show you how sweet this woman was when Trump was taking her on a tour through Mar-a-Lago.
Here at
Well, thank
Mar-a-Lago. What does Mar-a-Lago mean to you? It's a special place.
It is a special. There's no place like it. You look.
Look at the smile on her face. Look at that. You would not believe that this is the same woman.
No matter where. It's just, there's nothing like it. And it's become really the heart of Florida in a way, but certainly the heart of Palm Beach, which is an important place. And I just don't think there's anything more beautiful in this country than Mar-a-Lago as, you know, as a physical object. It's been amazing, and it's been very successful.
It's the Winter White House.
It is. It was built,
It was built essentially for that
E.F. Hutton
reason.
and Marjorie Merriweather Post. They were married. He was the biggest man on Wall Street, and she was the richest woman in the world, actually. And they built it together, and it just, they picked the best site. They picked the best architects. They had unlimited money, and they built it. No, it's a very special place. And
Like, she's literally allowing him to talk. Smile on her face. She's speaking so gently, so sweet.
Palm Beach likes me because I saved it. Most of these places were ripped down, and 10 or 15 or 20 houses, mansions, beautiful mansions also, but much smaller. They were built on those sites, and I was able to save this, which is very important.
Well, and I know that you were just in Michigan.
Right.
You're just talking to folks in Michigan to mark 100 days.
Right.
Do you anticipate doing more travel across the country? And what do you do to stay in touch with the workers who elected you,
Well,
sir?
I just went to a great place, University of Alabama, last night. This was some unbelievable evening. And I gave the commencement address, and it's like different. Everybody was so awake, so lively, so so attractive, and I'm not talking just physically attractive, just there was such an energy in the room, and it was really nice.
It's just so amazing just watching her be this quiet. You go, I mean, look him in the eyes, her arms folded, shaking her head, agree with what he's saying. Like, it's so crazy seeing her like this, right? But then we're gonna go over to the interview that they had, and we're gonna see the scene in regards to the border and the border crisis and everything, and then we can react to that.
Ocean, we're hitting him very hard. No, he's doing a very good job.
His job is safe right now?
Totally safe.
Okay. Let's talk about the border.
Okay.
Let's talk about deportation.
Look at her face right now. No smiles. She's dead serious. Firm voice. Stone-faced. She is ready to go. Like a paid actor.
Border crossings are at their lowest level ever recorded. Is the border...
Is that good?
Is the border now secure?
Yeah, it's really secure.
It's absolutely
Isn't that good?
secure.
When you say that, doesn't that just sound good? After being abused for years by an incompetent president that allowed people to pour through an open border, criminals from all over the world, murderers, and insane people from mental institutions and insane asylums. Isn't it a beautiful thing when you say it's the most secure it's ever been?
Trump is my guy. Trump was like, isn't it beautiful the way you're saying it? Is the most secure that it's ever been? Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? You guys were calling me stupid. You guys were calling me all type of names. Calling me Hitler. Calling me a racist. Isn't it beautiful that you all feel safer right now? Tell me it is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? That's Trump, my guy.
In the history of our country. Isn't that a nice statement?
Well, I'm curious to know what it means.
Say it is. Say it is. At least say yes. Some people say it is a beautiful thing. You get what I'm saying? Give a response. What are you trying to say? Oh, I'm curious to see.
All over the world, murderers and insane people from mental institutions and insane asylums. Isn't it a beautiful thing when you say it's the most secure it's ever been in the history of our country? Isn't that a nice statement?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I'm curious to know what it means. You declared a national emergency on the southern border. The order is still in place.
By the way,
even though you're saying
exactly
the border's
what you
secure.
said. It means we have the most secure border we've ever had.
Well, and I guess the question becomes, when will you know that?
You see what I said? She keeps on cutting him off. She doesn't want to give him no compliments. No, nothing. What do you mean? Like, I'm trying to understand what you like you just said. It is the safest that it's ever been. Give me my flowers. Give me my flowers. What else are you trying to understand? I'm doing my job, girl.
Border. The order is still in place.
By the way,
even though you're saying
exactly
the
what
border's
you
secure.
said. It means we have the most secure border we've ever had.
Well, and I guess the question becomes, when will you know that the emergency is over? Are you planning to lift it at some point? Is it necessary? Because obviously the military is involved. Will you lift that emergency?
Well, the biggest emergency is the courts aren't allowing us to take really.
We're going to talk about that, but talk to me first about
to me
this.
The emergency.
Talk to me first.
You see what I'm saying? She's being very combative. She doesn't allow him to finish his words. Like, just give the man his flowers. Like, sometimes I ask myself, these people, like, don't they love America? Why would you want unregistered people to just pour into your country? That's like having a home. That's like having a house with no front door, with no gate. And anyone can just walk into your bedroom, lay down on your bed, walk into your bathroom, have a shower, and just walk into your kitchen, have food, and just chill out and watch TV. Like at least, even if you don't want to give him the compliment, say, you know what? Some people are saying that it is a beautiful thing. But no, she would rather be combative, cut him off, talk over him, have a stone face. And to me, that's the reason why I say I've come to a conclusion that these people are paid actors. What they say on TV is not really how they feel.
First about this
The border
emergency.
now is not the emergency. The border is all part of the same thing, though. The big emergency right now is that we have thousands of people that we want to take out, and we have some judges that want everybody to go to
Some
court.
of them you appointed, sir, including
That's all right.
3 on the
that,
Supreme Court.
They change. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how that happens, but they do change.
Just to button this up, though, are you planning to lift that emergency order anytime soon? Now that the border's secure?
We have an emergency. We have a massive emergency overall. It's an overall emergency on immigration. And if the courts don't allow us to take people out, if we had to have a court case, think of it, every single person, we have millions of people. We're going to have millions of court cases. Figure 2 weeks a court case, it would be 300 years.
So let's talk about this, because obviously you've had a back and forth with the Supreme Court. In a 9-0 decision, the Supreme Court directed your administration to facilitate the return. You've talked about this in the past, of Kilmar Abrego Garcia from a prison in El Salvador, whose deportation your administration called an administrative error. You said in a recent interview you could bring him back, but you won't. Are you defying the Supreme Court, sir?
No, I'm relying on the Attorney General of the United States, Pam Bondi, who's very capable, doing a great job, because I'm not involved in the legality or the illegality. I have lawyers to do that, and that's why I have a great DOJ. We have a great one. We had a very corrupt one before. Now we have a great one. And they're not viewing the decision the way you said it. They don't view it that way at all. They think it's a totally different decision.
Well, you say you have the power to bring him back, though. Your attorney general says, quote, that's up to El Salvador. Just to put a fine point on this, do you have the power to bring Abrego Garcia back as the Supreme Court?
Well, I have
ordered?
the power to ask for him to come back if I'm instructed by the Attorney General that it's legal to do so. But the decision as to whether or not he should come back will be the head of El Salvador. He's a very capable man.
Well, you know, and your Attorney General has said the issue is with that word facilitate. Will you seek clarification from the Supreme Court? Do you need to go back to the Supreme Court?
We may do that. I was asking about that. We may do that. There are some people that say, bring him back, put him in trial, and you get him out right away, because you see what happened just this morning. Tapes came out, horrible tapes from his wife. You don't get much worse than that. You don't get, I mean, he seems certainly like a very dangerous, very bad person, but even the wife, who was so afraid, she was afraid to talk, and all of a sudden tapes got released this morning that were devastating to him.
And this is the point, sir, about due process. The Constitution says every person, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Why not push to have him come back, present all of that evidence in court, let a judge decide?
Well, I'll leave that to the lawyers, and I'll leave that to the Attorney General of the United States,
but
because they're in it. You have to understand, I'm dealing with Russia and Ukraine. I'm dealing
and we're
with
going to talk
China.
about that.
I'm dealing with Iran. I'm dealing with Rwanda and Congo, who are fighting, and we're trying to get that one straightened out, and I think we have done that. Did a great job. Nobody even talks about it, but I think we're close to doing that. They're looking like they're going to maybe make a peace deal, which would be good. But I'm dealing with a lot of different things. I don't know much about this gentleman other than I hear he's an absolute not.
You see, right? I'm going to be fair. This is where I'm going to be skeptical when it comes to Trump, and not just Trump and the president, right? Because, you know, sometimes we blame him in regards to things that are happening in the country. We're like, how could you be in power and not know that this is happening? Especially in regards to free speech, the tackle down of free speech and the people that are criticizing, for example, Israel, right? I believe that he doesn't know everything that's going on, right? He only reacts based on the evidences that are presented in front of him. So we've asked that question before. Some of his advisors, the people in his cabinet, are they lying to him? You know what I mean? Because some of the things that we see, we scratch our head, we be like, this is not what you told us during your campaign that you were going to do. Like, why are you, for example, in the Middle East fighting? Why are you trying to start a war with Iran? Like, what's going on? You get me? And we saw what happened with Mike Waltz. He got removed. So I believe that some of his advisors, they give him the wrong information, they purposely lie to him and everything. And when he reacts, obviously everybody accused him of that. Because we saw in his previous interview that he did, he brought up a picture of a guy who was quote unquote in the MS-13, like the knuckle. And it was literally on the interview that he found out that that was photoshopped. You get what I mean? So when he said this, I'm like thinking, okay, maybe you should know what exactly is going on. And I know it's hard because he's dealing literally with the whole world. But this right here kind of made me raise my eyebrows a little bit.
Good person. And I have very capable legal people, John Sauer, as you know, and all top people. And I have to rely on that to interpret whatever's said by the Supreme Court. Now, with that being said, I have tremendous respect for the Supreme Court. Look, 3 of the people are people I appointed.
Right.
And I have great respect for the Supreme Court. And I would expect that the Attorney General will be doing the right thing.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, the Fifth Amendment says
I don't know. It
How come you
seems.
don't
It
know,
seems.
Trump? Come on, man.
It might say that, but if you're talking about that, then we'd have to have 1 million or 2 million or 3 million trials. We have thousands of people that are some murderers and some drug dealers and some of the worst people on earth.
But
some of the worst, most dangerous people on earth. And I was elected to get them.
Well, in all fairness, the Constitution says everybody is entitled to a due process. Now, if people don't like it, you have to make some amendments to it. But as far as we know, that's what it says. So unfortunately, some people might not like it, but everyone is entitled to a due process.
The hell out of here, and the courts are holding me from doing it.
But even given those numbers that you're talking about, don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as
I
president?
don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said. What you said is not what I heard the Supreme Court said. They have a different interpretation.
Is anyone in your administration right now in contact with El Salvador about returning Abrego Garcia to the United
I don't know.
States?
You'd have to ask the Attorney General that question.
Okay. At least 2 Americans have been mistakenly detained and released by your administration, immigration authorities. Mr. President, should lawful residents of this country start carrying paperwork with them when they leave their homes?
I don't think that'll be necessary, but what you're not saying is that many people have been killed, maimed, badly hurt by illegal immigrants that came over that are from prisons and from jails and from mental institutions, and they're hurting our people. And if we don't get them out, we're not going to have a country for long.
That's true.
We need honest.
Yeah.
We need honest media, and we need walls. We need to have borders. And by the way, I built a lot of walls, and if we didn't do that, we wouldn't be able to have those. You know, we would not be able to have the kind of numbers if I wasn't successful in building hundreds of miles of wall.
Very quickly, sir, the last time you and I spoke.
So, in my opinion, Trump is spot on with some of the things that he's saying in regards to the borders. You go, I mean, a lot of people have crossed the borders illegally. We don't know who these people are. Some of them can be criminals. Some of them are killers. Some of them are probably done very bad things in their countries, and they are obviously crossing up the border and everything. You go, I mean? So, of course, they should be clamped down. Of course, the border should be closed for now until things are under control. But then at the same time, deporting a lot of people en masse without due process can be a bit dangerous, can be a bit, horrible for them, especially if the people are innocent, if the people haven't done anything wrong. And when you see some of the Democrats talking about that some of those people are citizens of America, I don't know how true that is, but I think that that's something that obviously should be looked into to make sure that in as much as the government is doing what they're supposed to do, that people are actually getting, the real justice. You get what I'm saying? But then at the same time, it was brilliant watching Trump shame those people to their faces. You get what I mean? It was brilliant watching him shame them to their face. And then also Kristen as well, just looking at her like she's a whole total different person from when Trump was showing her the building to now. Like, and to me, that's the reason why I said that these people are paid actors. A lot of them don't believe what they're saying about Trump. But it is unfortunate because they come on TV and say that, and the people that are buying their lies are the people listening and watching them. Let me know your thoughts. It's your boy Toby. Subscribe to this channel, watch these videos, leave a like, and leave your comments in the comment section. Until next time, salute.